There's one travel story that nobody ever wants to tell. It's about the uninvited guests who've staged one of the most successful and, frankly, terrifying comebacks in the animal kingdom. We are, of course, talking about bedbugs, specifically the common bedbug, Cimex lectularius, and its tropical cousin, Cimex hemipterus. So let's dive into how they pulled off this global resurgence. And that really is the central mystery here. I mean, if you grew up after World War II, you probably thought bedbugs were just a line in a nursery rhyme, right? In a lot of developed nations, powerful insecticides like DDT had basically pushed them to the brink of extinction by the 1950s. But somehow, they didn't just survive. They came back stronger than ever.
Starting around the 1990s, reports of infestations just started to skyrocket. So what changed? Well, it was a perfect storm of two things. First, the bugs developed this incredible resistance to the chemicals we've been using to control them. And second, we became a truly global community. All that international travel gave these tiny hitchhikers the ride of a lifetime, turning them into the 21st century's most unwelcome travel companion.
To really understand how to fight them, we've got to know exactly what we're up against. So let's get up close and personal with the biology of these incredibly resilient pests. Okay, first things first, bedbugs are what we call obligate ectoparasites. The ecto part means they live on the outside of their host, not inside like an endoparasite. And obligate means they absolutely need blood to survive and grow. But here's the clever part. They don't live on you. They live near you, hiding out in tiny crevices and only coming out for a blood meal when you're fast asleep. And don't even think of them as simple germs. Bedbugs aren't single-celled protozoans like the parasite that causes malaria. Nope, they are complex, multicellular animals, metazoans. This means they've got specialized organ systems, a nervous system, a whole physiology that makes them incredibly tough. They can even survive for up to a year without feeding by basically going into a state of hibernation. It's also pretty interesting to see where they fit in the grand scheme of things. Looking at their full classification here, you see they're in the animal kingdom, all the way down to species. They belong to the order Hemiptera, which entomologists call the true bugs, and they're part of the Cimicidae family, a group where most species actually feed on bats and birds. The ones that bother us are basically an offshoot that's specialized in humans, probably way back when our ancestors were sharing caves with bats. So we've got the common bedbug, Cimex lectularius, and the tropical one, Cimex hemipterus. How in the world can you tell them apart? It's subtle, but it all comes down to the shape of their pronotum. That's the first segment of their thorax, right behind the head. On the common bedbug, it's really broad and curved. On the tropical one, it's a bit narrower, not as expanded. It might seem like a tiny detail, but for pest management experts, it's absolutely crucial. Their success story as a species is, well, it's pretty much a horror story for us. Let's take a look at how they reproduce and have managed to spread to nearly every corner of the globe. This illustration here does a fantastic job of showing the entire process. It's a journey from a tiny little egg to a fully grown, blood-sucking adult. And believe me, every single step of the way is designed for maximum survival and reproduction. So let's break this down because it's pretty wild. A female lays about 5 eggs every single day. In about a week or two, those hatch into the first nymphal stage. Now, here's the crucial part. To get from one of these 5 nymphal stages to the next, the bug must have a blood meal. It has to molt 5 times before it becomes a reproductive adult. Just think about it. That's a lot of bites just for one single bug to grow up. This is a perfect example of how they spread in a modern country. Let's take the Netherlands. It's a huge hub for global travel. The main species they see is the common Cimex lectularius. And guess what? Infestations are clustered in cities and they peak in late summer, right after everyone gets back from their holidays. You find them in hotels, student housing, even on public transport. It just shows how easily they hitch a ride right into our daily lives. Okay, so the spread is one thing, but what actually happens when they find you? Let's get into the direct impact these insects have on our health and, frankly, our sanity. All right, let's just get the biggest fear out of the way right now. While bedbugs have been found carrying pathogens, a ton of research has shown they are not effective at transmitting diseases to people. The main medical issue isn't what they might pass on, it's the bite itself. The classic signs are those itchy, red welts, which are basically an allergic reaction to the bug's saliva. You often see them in a line or a cluster. Some people call it the breakfast, lunch, and dinner pattern. But the impact? Man, it goes so much deeper.
For some people, it can cause severe systemic allergic reactions. And for almost everyone who goes through an infestation, it causes profound psychological distress, leading to serious anxiety and insomnia.
All right, so they're here, they bite, and they are incredibly resilient. So how do we actually fight back? Let's look at the modern arsenal for detection, treatment, and getting rid of them for good. We're way past just using a flashlight these days. Today, we've got some seriously high-tech tools. Multiplex PCR can identify a bug species from just a tiny DNA sample. For faster results, there's LAMP technology that can do this right on site. And for inspectors, there are now these rapid antigen tests like the TrueDex that can detect bedbug residue on a surface in just 5 minutes. So what about treating the bites themselves? Let's look at the guidelines from the Netherlands, which are pretty typical. For immediate relief, cooling the area with an ice pack definitely helps. For that crazy itching, topical creams with levomenthol or zinc oxide are recommended. And in more severe cases, a doctor might prescribe oral antihistamines or even corticosteroids. But, and this is so important, let's be absolutely clear about something. Treating the bites is just managing the symptoms. The only real treatment is getting rid of the bugs completely. As long as the infestation is there, the problem is just going to continue. Because these bugs are so resistant to chemicals now, professionals rely on what's called an integrated pest management approach. This means combining a bunch of different tactics. Heat is a powerful weapon. Washing things at 60 degrees Celsius kills all life stages. The opposite works too. Freezing items at -14 degrees for a week is also lethal. And while vacuuming definitely helps reduce their numbers, it's almost never enough on its own. So as we start to wrap this up, it's pretty clear we are not going back to a bedbug-free world anytime soon. We're entering a whole new reality in our relationship with this pest. And just when you thought it couldn't get more complicated, here is the latest twist. The common and the tropical species, which used to be separated by climate, are now being found living together in the same cities, from Paris all the way to the United States. This sympatric occurrence, as scientists call it, creates brand new challenges because they have different responses to temperature and insecticides, which just makes control efforts even harder. Which, leaves us with this big, kind of sobering question. In a world where people and goods are constantly moving across continents day in and day out, is total eradication even a realistic goal anymore? Or is constant vigilance and management just the new normal? By the way, we researched this explainer using a Gemini deep search, pulling from authoritative sources like the CDC and peer-reviewed scientific literature. If you want to see a full list of our sources and really dive deeper into the research, you can find a link to our Notebook LM document right in the description. We really hope this deep dive helps you understand this incredibly persistent pest. If you found this useful, please subscribe to our channel for more explainers just like this one. And let us know what you think down in the comments below. Thanks for watching.